lie to you. It'll make you not care about a lot of things, man.
You take Suboxone or Subutex or methadone, or you can't take the medicine.
Ever since I started doing dope, I started nodding off a lot and passing out wherever I was at.
I had this pain that was shooting from my back, around to my hip, and down to my knee. It was the worst pain I ever felt in my life.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories. Kensington is no longer the peaceful neighborhood it once was. Every morning when I pass the train station, I see needles scattered by the steps and a few people huddled on the sidewalk, their eyes glazed over as if they were somewhere else. The government says it will open safe use rooms to reduce deaths, but no one believes that is the real solution. The addicts here need more than a safe place to inject. They need a place to live, to remember they are still human. Every night, I walk past sidewalks littered with trash and needles, wondering how long it will be before Kensington stops being consumed by drugs and despair. One, the current state of Kensington Avenue. Kensington Avenue, once a proud symbol of Philadelphia's working class, now mirrors America's forgotten struggle. Decades ago, factories buzzed with energy, children laughed on the sidewalks, and neighbors greeted each other warmly. Today, those same streets are lined with tents, shuttered stores, and faces marked by exhaustion. The rumble of trains overhead contrasts sharply with the quiet despair below, where people drift through days that feel longer than they should. By 2025, the median income here hovers around $25,000, and more than 35% of residents live below the poverty line. The area has become one of the largest open-air drug markets on the East Coast, where addiction and poverty collide daily. Parents rush their children past needles scattered on the sidewalks, and shopkeepers close early, fearing what the night might bring. It's more than urban decay. It's the erosion of a community once built on hard work and pride. Have you ever stood in a place where heartbreak and hope live side by side? Two, the cruel chains of fentanyl.
A couple of needles broke in my neck and my groin. I started getting seizures, fever, things like that. I had to get to an emergency room. I had this pain that was shooting from my back, around to my hip, and down to my knee.
In Kensington, the fentanyl epidemic moves like a silent shadow through every street, swallowing lives one by one. By 2025, more than 80% of overdose deaths in Philadelphia involve fentanyl, a synthetic opioid so lethal that a few grains can end a life in seconds. It creeps into every corner, abandoned row homes, subway tunnels, church steps, places that now serve as shelter for those who've lost almost everything.
And I lost my job. I lost the relationship.
I lost everything.
Fentanyl doesn't just destroy bodies, it unravels families, dreams, and whole communities. Recovery feels distant when every breath is a battle against both withdrawal and despair. Moments like this are why U.S. Homeless Stories exists, to remind the world that behind every statistic, there's a heartbeat, a voice, and a story worth hearing. Three, the harms of drugs. The harms of drugs in Kensington run far deeper than the statistics on paper. They destroy hope, identity, and human connection. In 2025, fentanyl remains the city's deadliest enemy, claiming nearly 80% of overdose deaths. But the numbers can't capture what it really feels like to walk down Kensington Avenue, where men and women stand motionless under the drug's trance, their bodies frozen, their spirits fading. Local hospitals overflow with overdose victims, and outreach workers roam the streets daily with Narcan kits, racing time to bring someone back to life, only to see the same faces fall again days later. Addiction here isn't just a personal struggle. It's a chain reaction that tears through families, businesses, and entire blocks. Even children sense the weight of it. They walk past discarded needles on their way to school, learning too young what despair looks like. Shopkeepers shut down early, and neighbors who once shared barbecues now lock their doors in fear. The smell of chemicals lingers in the air, a silent reminder of how far the neighborhood has fallen. The true harm of drugs isn't only in the death they bring, but in the life they slowly erase. Four, root causes of the crisis. Kensington's pain didn't appear overnight. It's the result of years of neglect, poverty, and broken systems. Once a proud working-class area filled with factory jobs and family life, it now stands as a shadow of its past. When industries vanished, jobs disappeared, and rents climbed above $500 for a small apartment, thousands were pushed to the edge. Public housing wait lists stretched for years, and one medical bill or lost paycheck could mean the streets. But beyond economics lies something deeper: mental health struggles, untreated trauma, and addiction fed by despair. In a place where help is scarce, fentanyl became both an escape and a curse. Families fractured, hope faded, and whole neighborhoods fell into silence. Still, the question echoes: how can a wealthy nation allow this to happen? Underfunded shelters, overwhelmed clinics, and racial inequality keep the cycle turning. Women fleeing abuse, seniors without care, and veterans with nowhere to go. Each face tells part of the story. Yet amid the sorrow, sparks of resilience remain. A volunteer serving hot meals, a mother fighting to stay sober, a neighbor cleaning her street out of pride. If this story touches you, leave a comment. Why do you think this crisis continues? And if you want more stories that reveal the truth about life on America's streets, subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories and join us in spreading awareness and compassion. Five, life on the streets of the homeless. Life on the streets of Kensington in 2025 is a quiet battle of exhaustion, cold nights, and fragile hope. The number of unsheltered people has risen by nearly 10%, turning sidewalks into fragile spaces of survival. Public housing lists stretch for years, forcing many to rely on tents and temporary corners to call their own. The air feels heavy, filled with uncertainty and quiet despair. Around them, the open-air drug market traps lives in a cycle of need. Yet even amid the hardship, kindness endures. Volunteers bring warm meals, churches open doors, and moments of care remind us that compassion still lives here. Groups like Project Home fight for lasting solutions. Backed by Mayor Parker's 2025 housing plan, they work to rebuild not just homes, but dignity, linking shelter, recovery, and mental health care. Progress is slow, but every safe bed and helping hand is a quiet victory for a community refusing to give up. As the sun sets on Kensington's worn blocks, the struggle continues, but so does courage. Behind every tent lies a will to survive, and behind every act of kindness, a spark of change. What do you think it will take to truly end life on the streets in places like this? Share your thoughts below, and if these stories move you, please subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Together, we can keep shining light where the world too often looks away. 6. The Forgotten Faces. The forgotten faces of Kensington aren't just shadows beneath the train tracks. They're people with names, memories, and dreams that the world stopped seeing. Each one carries the weight of survival in a city that moves too fast to notice. In 2025, More than 60% of those experiencing homelessness in Philadelphia are from Black and minority communities, a number that speaks to deep-rooted inequality and decades of neglect. These are mothers trying to protect their children, veterans haunted by the past, and workers whose lives collapsed after one bad turn. Along Kensington Avenue, their existence unfolds quietly, figures moving between shelters, seeking warmth, food, and dignity. Every small gesture matters: a shared meal, a kind word, or a moment of recognition. Organizations like Project Home and Prevention Point continue to fight for them, offering not just supplies, but hope, proof that compassion can still cut through despair. These forgotten faces remind us that homelessness isn't only about losing a roof, it's about losing a sense of belonging. When society stops looking, people start to disappear. The next time you pass someone struggling on the street, look closer. Behind every tired face is a story of endurance, not failure. If this message touches you, don't scroll away. Leave a comment and share your thoughts on how we can bring dignity back to these lives. And if you believe these stories must be heard, subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories to stand with those who refuse to be forgotten. Seven, impact on the community. Walking through Kensington today feels like walking through two worlds, one haunted by despair, the other quietly clinging to hope. Children step around slumped figures on their way to school, pretending not to notice the tents pressed against broken walls. Shop owners sweep the same doorsteps where business once thrived, now staring out at streets where customers no longer come. The hum of community life has faded into a low, uneasy silence. You can almost feel the weight of exhaustion in the air. Neighbors locking doors earlier, parents worrying about their kids just walking to the bus stop. It's not just a neighborhood that's struggling, it's a community holding its breath, hoping someone still cares. But even here, amid the pain, small sparks of humanity shine. A retired man hands out sandwiches from his porch. A young woman paints over graffiti with murals of angels. Local churches open their doors for warmth and prayer. These gestures may seem small, but they keep the spirit of Kensington alive. They remind us that compassion can survive even in the darkest corners, and that hope doesn't disappear, it just hides, waiting for someone to believe in it again. The media loves to label this place the opioid capital, yet those headlines never show the faces of the people fighting back. They don't show the laughter of kids playing tag between boarded-up shops, or the woman who shares her last blanket with a stranger. Beneath all the hardship, there's still heart here, still the beating pulse of a community that refuses to give up. If these stories move you, please take a moment to subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories and help us keep these voices alive. Your support reminds the world that these lives matter. What would you do if this was your neighborhood? Would you turn away, or would you lend a hand? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because every voice adds strength to this fight for dignity and hope. 8. Efforts toward healing and hope. In the shadow of Kensington's hardship, where addiction and homelessness have left deep scars, a quiet movement toward healing is taking shape. Across the city, dedicated organizations and volunteers are proving that compassion can still change lives. Groups like Project Home and Prevention Point continue to stand firm, offering not just aid, but dignity, food, shelter, clean resources, and a chance for people to rebuild. Their work reminds us that progress doesn't come from speeches or policies alone. It grows from human connection and the belief that no one should be forgotten. Local residents also play their part. Many have grown tired of watching their community decay, so they step up, cleaning streets, helping neighbors, and showing that resilience still exists, even in the hardest places. These small acts of care ripple outward, creating hope where despair once lived. Change may not happen overnight, but it begins with these simple choices to care. The Housing First model offers a path forward. Provide homes first, then address deeper issues like addiction or mental health. It's a practical, proven approach that restores stability and dignity. Imagine a community where everyone has a safe place to rest, where recovery becomes possible because survival is no longer the daily fight. If you believe in compassion and second chances, subscribe to US Homeless Stories to stay connected with stories that matter. Personal reflection. Walking through Kensington Avenue fills me with a deep, quiet sadness that's hard to shake. The air feels heavy, carrying the weight of stories untold, dreams that slipped through trembling hands, and faces that once belonged to warm homes and families. The avenue, lined with tents and fading murals, isn't just a street. It's a mirror reflecting the fragility of life. One lost job, one medical bill, one wrong turn, and stability can vanish in an instant. That realization stays with me long after I leave. What strikes me most is that the people here are not strangers to hope. They still cling to fragments of it, even in the darkest moments. Sarah's quiet determination to reunite with her daughter and Elena's spark of creativity that survives each cold night remind me that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through small gestures of kindness, a volunteer offering a warm meal, a passerby sharing a gentle word, a church group sweeping the sidewalks in defiance against despair. These acts, though small, form the heartbeat of a broken neighborhood that refuses to die. Kensington's struggle is not just its own, it's a reflection of America itself. The tents, the weary eyes, the silence between sirens all speak to the cracks in a nation that has forgotten too many of its people. The homeless here are not faceless statistics. They are teachers of truth, showing us what happens when compassion fades and systems fail. Through US Homeless Stories, I've come to see that empathy is more than sorrow, it's responsibility. To truly recognize another's humanity, that's where change begins. As I walk away, the sound of shuffling feet and distant voices lingers like an echo, reminding me that every story told is a chance to heal. Kensington's pain is immense, but so is its endurance. Maybe that's what gives me hope, the belief that even in deep struggle, humanity still flickers, waiting for all of us to keep it alive. 10. Conclusion. Kensington's story isn't just about broken streets or fading murals, it's about people. It's about the quiet cries that echo under bridges, the mothers clutching memories of better days, the fathers who once worked in factories now reduced to searching for warmth on cold concrete. Every corner whispers a truth we often ignore. Behind every tent is a heart that still beats, a dream that refuses to die. Yes, the fentanyl crisis and the open-air market have left deep scars here. But if you look closer, beneath the pain, there's resilience, a stubborn, beautiful spark that refuses to go out. People like Sarah, fighting to reunite with her daughter. Maria, sweeping her street with a firm belief that her neighborhood still matters. Organizations like Project Home and Prevention Point, standing tall where others turn away, proving that compassion can still outshine chaos. These moments remind us that healing isn't a fantasy, it's possible. But only if we all take part. Real change doesn't start in government offices. It begins in our hearts, in our willingness to care. Housing programs like Housing First show us that when people are given safety and stability, they can rebuild. But policies alone can't mend a broken spirit. What heals is kindness, empathy, and the courage to act when no one's watching. So as we close this chapter on US Homeless Stories, I want to ask you, what kind of America do you want to wake up to tomorrow? One that turns its back, or one that reaches out a hand? If stories like Sarah's move you, don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and join this mission to bring awareness, compassion, and and change to places like Kensington. Every voice matters, especially yours. Together, we can make sure no story like this goes unheard again.